Hello, hello. Very good warm welcome to Monday night meditation here in Brixton in Everspace. I'm down here with Cheryl. Cheryl's doing the tech.
Hello.
That's Cheryl, and no, really delighted. I was just we were just talking about the kids were back in the school opposite me there today, and a little warm tinge in the air. So yeah, feels like something is changing. At the moment, doesn't it? So, yeah, if you don't know me, I'm an older member here at Brixton. My name's Sumatra Nara, and yeah, it'd be really good to hear from you, whoever's out there tuning in. So you could put your name in the chat and say a little something if you wanted to. That'd be great. I could give you a shout out later on, so I'd be really pleased to do that. Yeah, and as always, we've got this two-part evening. So we've got this first part where we're going to do a short meditation, and then I'm going to be getting into the theme of the evening and then doing a much longer meditation. And then there'll be a second half, which we're calling the discussion lounge, where you've got a chance to get together, talk about meditation practice, and anything that's kind of occurred to you from the evening, whatever's come up. So yeah, tonight I'm really delighted to be continuing this series of the worldly winds, and yeah, the worldly winds. These forces in our lives that we're blown about by. We've got on the one hand gain and loss, pleasure and pain, fame and kind of infamy, and also praise and blame. So you've got these kind of four pairs of opposites, which kind of day by day, even moment by moment, are kind of blow us around. But what's really interesting, as we start to kind of notice that going on in our experience, is what the Buddha had to say about that. So he encourages to take those forces as teachers. So take those forces as teachers rather than our obstacles to our happiness, a kind of opportunity in a way to develop patience, to develop courage, to develop a loving a kind of response. And yeah, I guess what he was trying to do is really get us to kind of welcome that challenge in, welcome that opportunity in, and just kind of having that attitude, bringing that attitude to mind when we're feeling those winds blow in our lives, can really change things. It can kind of help us to regain the initiative, help us to kind of get on the front foot and respond to what's happening. So yeah, so we're going to be talking more about the worldly winds, and particularly the worldly winds of pleasure and pain. So we'll talk about pleasure and pain tonight. Okay, so but before we do that, let's settle in. Yeah, just settle in, open ourselves up for the evening. Put aside whatever's been happening today, or and just opening up to the evening. So just settle down into a posture, wherever you are, on the sofa, chair, if you're on the floor, that's fine. And if you're happy to, just closing your eyes and straight away just noticing the kind of space around you with the sounds in a way contained in that space, moving through that space. And then, as it were, entering the body, really feeling the body, the sensations of the body. And feeling the weight of the body. It's just allowing the weight of the body to fall down into contact with the floor. And noticing where the weight of the body is contacting the floor. So the sensations there are more vivid, more sense of aliveness. And then just from the waist down, seeing if you can allow your legs to soften. As it were, just sink down into that contact with the ground. So there's no holding on. So just feeling the ease of letting go of the legs. No need to hold on. And now also letting go in the tummy. Any sense of holding in the tummy just start to soften. And allowing the legs to be relaxed. Just feeling the body, the upper body rising up. Feeling your shoulders. Just letting go any holding on in the shoulders. In the face, around the eyes. Around the mouth. No need to hold on to any expression in the face, just allowing the face to go relaxed. And feeling the body breathing, just letting the breath soothe the body. We're just letting go any holding on in the body and letting the breath soothe the body. And then expanding that sense of the breath in the body into the whole of the body. So the whole body's breathing, the whole body's alive. And just reflecting that we're sitting here meditating with other people from all over the place. Just right now. Energetically connected. Okay, good. So I hope we've all just settled in. Let's see who is out there. Still time to put your name in. So let's see. Hi Tom, good to have you with us. Hi Ella B. Oh, it's Pam. She's got an alias tonight. Hi Pam. Emma's there. Hi Emma. Jill and Ian and Joe in Tulse Hill. And there's Daisy May in Camberwell. Okay, so if anyone else had it, just put your name in and do say hello. Here's James. Hi James. And James in Camberwell. Good to have you with us, James. Okay, so let's see. So we're going to talk about pleasure and pain. It's a really foundational kind of subject, really, isn't it? And I suppose I wanted to start off by just kind of, in a way, clearing away a kind of wrong idea about what the spiritual life is about, what the Dharma life, what Buddhist life is about, in the sense that an idea that one doesn't experience pain, somehow is aloof from a pain, sometimes above feeling pain. And the Buddha had a very evocative image of himself in his later life, in his 70s, where he described his body as being like an old cart stuck together with pieces of rope and string, and he was only able to relieve that pain of the body through through meditation. Yeah? So even however one spiritually developed one is, pain comes with having a body, comes with having a mind. The distinction is how we respond to the pain. How we respond to the pain and how we respond to the pleasure. So this teaching now is, like, in a way, it's been one of the most useful for me. There's so many teachings in the Buddhist kind of lexicon, but this to me is a really, really useful foundational teaching about the two darts. So the teaching of the two darts is that something hurts us, yeah? That comes with having a mind or a body, something we're physically in pain or emotionally or in pain, mentally in pain. So something causes that, yeah. Something goes awry how we want things to be. Yeah, we don't want the body to be painful. It becomes painful. We don't want things to change in certain ways. They change in certain ways. It's going to be painful. But what the Buddha said is that we add this second arrow, add this second dart, and this second dart is a kind of way that we explain to ourselves about the pain and resist it. So we kind of fall into blame, fall into resentment, fall into just a resisting that we don't want this happening, and that it must be somebody's fault or something's fault. And these stories are all making it worse. Yeah, they're actually, we're doing all that to try and make ourselves feel better. Actually, it's making us feel worse, and we start to tense around the discomfort, both mentally tensing, physically tensing around discomfort. So Buddha was asking us to experience pain just for what it is, and we can start to we can stop that second dart. We can stop that second dart, that second kind of wave, which kind of perpetuates the problem. So the impulse, as we all know, in relation to pain, is to push it away, to resist, to resent, to reject. Yeah, in a way that kind of depends. There's a whole spectrum, isn't there? From a little niggles that we're kind of just a little resistant to things that we're just like really don't want to happen. Yeah, can really upset, really push back against. Yeah. So there's a whole spectrum of response, but the basic impulse is to press away. And as I've said, there's this mental aspect. So there's this aspect of on a level of thought where we say this is unbearable. We don't want it. It's not fair. We have an idea we're not going to be able to cope. So there's all these thoughts about the pain. There's thoughts, often quite complex chains of thoughts, often quite habitual chains of thoughts. And then, of course, there's all the emotion, isn't there, as well? There's the fear. What if this becomes permanent? You know, there's physical, mental upset. There's the anger. There's envy. There's all sorts of emotions that we can get into. And then there's the physical aspect, and that's a kind of kind of a contraction, a kind of tensing around discomfort. So these are the impulses. These are the impulses through when we experience pain through a mental or physical source. And then there's this impulse in relation to pleasure. The impulse in relation to pleasure is more to do with kind of grasp, more to do with kind of trying to hold it and in a way kind of control it. We don't want to lose that pleasure. We're fearful of it running out. We're kind of trying to corral it. We try to safeguard. We try to keep it going. Yeah, and in the same way as with pain, that's on a whole spectrum, isn't it? So, that's from mild, that thing of diminishing return, the law of diminishing returns, where you go up for your seconds of pudding. I live in a community, you guys, we sometimes have a pudding some nights, and everyone loves pudding. Of course they do. You love the pudding, but the second time it's never as good. It's never as good, Third time's definitely not. But you get this law of diminishing returns. So you kind of just want to keep it. You want to keep it going, and that's just on a very, very simple level. But we've noticed that we've all had that in relationships or other situations where we're really trying to hold on to what we've got. So you could say, well, that's normal, isn't it? That's natural. And in a way, yes, it is. Like, in a way, yes, very much it is. But those impulses, if followed through, cause us to contract. One in a sense of pressing away, and the other in a sense of trying to hold on to something, yeah? And that's causing us pain. And the Buddha's just interested in relieving dukkha, relieving pain and suffering, this is one of the main ways that we kind of create that for ourselves, yeah? So there's this wise reaction in relation to both pleasure and pain, which is, you could say, kind of exemplified by mindfulness. It's a shame mindfulness has been, it's rather softened as a word. From a Buddhist point of view, it's a very kind of radical concept of turning into what's actually going, actually seeing things for how they are. It's taken on a rather kind of quiet kind of demeanour through the modern mindfulness movement, which is, it's really beneficial on its own terms, but hasn't got that same radical quality. So I think often mindfulness has been started to be taken as just kind of quieting down, just a kind of quietude, just trying to make ourselves feel a little bit better in our lives. But actually it's this very radical quality of our mind of turning into whatever's going on, So in this sense, with pleasure and pain, we're turning into what's actually happening in the body, what's happening in the emotions. But it's not an alienated, it's not a kind of aloof, a kind of observation. Implicit in mindfulness, in this sense that I'm using it, is a kind of tenderness, is a kind of a kindness, a kind of emotional engagement with what's happening. Yeah, so that's really, really important. It's not just this kind of alienated, aloof kind of watching. Yeah, it's this it's becoming fully engaged with what's happening. So there's these steps that we can take, whether it be around pleasure or pain. I'm going to start with pain and then move into pleasure. And there's these steps that we can move through in meditation. In fact, in our lives, wherever we are, we can move through these stages. They can almost become rather habituated. We can actually just start to more and more easily work through what's going on in this way. So I'm going to just outline them for you now, and then in a short little while we'll do a meditation and actually bring and weave them into the meditation, so you can actually feel on an experiential level what that's like. So the first stage is we need to become aware. We need to, in a way, kind of turn the lights on in the fog of just being thrown around by whether it's pleasure or pain, just kind of being kind of lost in that fog. Yeah, we just kind of have to become aware of, oh, this is what's happening. Yeah, neither denying pleasure, not at all. Neither resisting pain, just kind of, in a way, just kind of noticing what's going on, waking up, kind of dispersing the fog with this quality of mindfulness. And then you just turn towards what is unpleasant. Yeah, it was like I say, we start with what's unpleasant, work into what's pleasant in a moment. So turn towards what's unpleasant. We notice that drive, that impulse to avoid. We notice that, we feel that pressing away. We notice that, whether it be the physical pain or mental, emotional pain, even existential pain, even that idea of, oh, where's my life going? Just, we feel ourselves tensing around that, and we notice that process happening. And then the next thing we do is we feel that. And where do we feel that? We have to feel that in the body. It has to be in the body. The body is where we feel the shape of the body, the feel of the body, the sensation of the body, the quality of the body. Yeah, and we kind of notice that we've kind of turned on to what's happening. We've noticed the impulse to press away, and then we feel that in the body. We feel how the body feels. And the breath is a really good way to relax, to find ease, for the nervous system to calm down. There's loads of physiological reasons why the breath is associated with calming the body down. So we don't hold the breath. We allow the breath to move in the body. We allow the breath to move, to the rib cage to expand, allow the breath to move in the body. And we feel that. We feel that process. We feel that process of breathing. And we don't tense. We don't tense around the breath. If you just now, while you're listening to me, just make a fist. How do you just make a fist? You shall make you got a fist. Now just notice what's happened to your breathing. Yeah? Probably you're holding on to your breathing. Yeah? So you make a fist, you tense, and you hold on to your breathing. Did you hold on to your breathing? Did you notice that?
Yeah. My back was tense.
Yeah, back's tense. Yeah, Cheryl's like that. So you that's kind of what goes on in the body. You know, as you resist or grasp onto something, your body tenses. Your body tenses around it. So you've got to let the body breathe. You let the body breathe. You let the body move and breathe with the and just you're starting to, in a way, frame the problem. Frame the problem not in terms of the content of that hurt, but in terms of the resistance to that. That's the problem there now that we need to address. Yeah? You start to frame the problem. The problem now is that I'm tensing around this situation, whatever it is. So yeah, we turn into that. Yeah, with a kind of, there's a courage required. There's a kind of bravery required. It might feel like, oh, that's going to overwhelm me, but it won't overwhelm you. You're just turning into it, and feeling that resistance and that contraction. And then you just use the breath to soften. You just use the breath to ease the body. Just use the breath to kind of relax. There's this image of leaning into a hay bale, leaning into just a soft hay bale, kind of leaning into it, just allowing this yielding, soft and tender. You're starting to feel that contraction, starting to just yield. That is in its own pace, its own time. Just yield, starting to let go, starting to let go. Yeah. There's a expression to treat it as a loved one. You know, just turning towards it and allowing that softness to enter in. And what we're going to do by that, what we're going to do with that process is we start to awaken sensitivity in our heart and in our mind, yeah? Sensitivity which has been numbed by that contraction process, you start to allow in some sensitivity. I mean, this happened to me yesterday. I just noticed when I was meditating that it takes me a long time sometimes to recognise that I'm kind of getting caught in some emotional restriction. And I started to notice that neither my pleasure nor my pain are quite fully, I've slightly just numbed to life, started to numb to life. So I could kind of feel that, a kind of closure, that the closing in, and just acknowledging that brought in this, awakened this sensitivity in my experience. It's like, that's what I've been trying to get with the Netflix and the other things where I've been trying to find the pleasure. It's not that. It's just turning into it, and that allows that lovely sensitivity to arise in its own, at its own kind of pace, at its own, in its own tone. So we're awakening the heart, awakening the mind, allowing sensitivity back in, and then we can start to be alive to pleasure. We can start to seek. Even what is pleasurable, even might be just quite subtle, might be just, as I said, that relief of opening the heart, or with your eyes closed in meditation, just maybe that delicate sensation of the eyelids in contact with one another, yeah? Just very subtle sensations, feeling that humanness, feeling that relief of an open heart. Like an explorer, it's been said, looking for treasure. So you're just looking for these little gems, these little subtle green shoots of pleasure. And then from there you can start to broaden out. Yeah, so we start to broaden out. We'll do this in the meditation. Broaden out. It's like we've zoomed in on pleasure and pain. Now we just start to zoom out and just hold whatever's going on. Just hold whatever's going on in our awareness, yeah, which has this kind of insight characteristics. Just seeing that things change. You may have been feeling really uncomfortable. Now you might start to notice that things start to ease out, and we're just kind of noticing that things are changing. Things can change, yeah, they're not fixed. We're not going to be stuck in our experience in the way that we imagine we might be, yeah. So this is a real life. This is real life we're dealing with. Real life, real ways of dealing with real life. And not just a technique, it's real ways of working with pleasure and pain in our day-to-day, in our real lives. Okay, so there's nowhere better to see that at work than in the meditation. So what we'll do now in a moment is we'll do the mindfulness of breathing in the 4 stages. I'll guide us through each of the stages. If you're not familiar with the mindfulness of breathing, I'll guide us through what we're doing. And then in the 3rd stage, we'll move more into this way of working, pleasure and pain. Yeah. So so let's do that now. Guided meditation on the mindfulness of breathing, bringing in ways of working with pleasure and pain. So yeah, just when you're ready, just setting yourself up for the meditation. So yeah, you're just going to get yourself comfortable, get a sense that you're well supported. Try to sit up under your own energy, not leaning on the chair, just sitting up under your own energy, whether that's on the sofa, on the chair, on the cushions on the floor. And now again, just feeling your way into your body. Whatever sensations are present, just feeling your way into the body. Shape of the body, texture, and also the weight, so we can feel where the weight of the body is dropping into the ground. And just relaxing in the tummy, in the shoulders, in the face. Just allowing the system to calm down. And then we feel the breath moving in the body. There's all sorts of sensations associated with that movement of the breath. Rib cage expanding. In this first stage, we just count after the out-breath. We're breathing in, feel the movement of the breath through breathing out, and just mark it off quietly in our mind with 1. Breathing in, breathing out, marking it with 2. And just keeping ourselves anchored, keeping ourselves engaged with the breathing by counting up to 10. So we're feeling the breath and we're feeling the body moving. Feeling the rib cage expanding and relaxing. Still feeling the weight of the body. Feeling the body breathing. So just let the body breathe. No need to control the breath at all, just letting the body breathe. And this second stage, just count just before the in-breath, just counting before the in-breath and feeling the whole cycle of the breath. Still just finding ease in the body. Letting the body breathe. Staying soft in the tummy. And soft in the shoulders. So we're just going to drop the counting now. Stay with the breath. Stay with our breathing body. And just notice any sense of resistance anywhere in the body. Any sense of contraction. Any sense of gripping. Maybe in the tummy. Maybe in the shoulders, forehead. And then just use the breath to smooth and to soften that holding. Not forcing. Gently, gently. As if we're leaning into soft wax. Allowing contraction to yield, to soften. Bringing in that tenderness, warm, kind quality to our experience of the breath. And now, just seeing if you can seek out any sense of pleasure, maybe subtle. Turning into our experience like that, awakening sensitivity. Any subtle pleasure. Breathing into that. Breathing into any sense of pleasure in the body. allowing it to deepen its own way. Allowing any pleasure to suffuse the breath. If you're feeling any holding on, just starting to soften that as well. Allowing any holding on to yield. Soften like warm wax. Not forcing, just in your own time, in your own pace. This tender, warm, kind quality dissolving the tension. Noticing the sensitivity. Any opening up. Sense of pleasure. Maybe very subtle. Breathing into any subtle sense of pleasure you find. It's opening up. So just breathing with what's going on. If there's tension there, just softening into the tension. Using the breath to help dissolve and ease the tension in the body. Awakening sensitivity in the body. You might find that sensitivity suffusing into more of the body. If you notice any bracing, any holding, turning into it. Opening to it. Feel the awakening of the body. Be subtle. And now we're just going to stay in contact with the body, the breath in the body, feeling it in as much of the body as we're able. Resting our attention where the breath enters and exits the body. Just watching how sensations change. Sometimes some contraction, some tensing enters into our experience. Sometimes there's release. Just getting this broader sense of the changing quality, the contraction and the release in the body. Tuning into that sense of change. Its transient nature, pain and pleasure. Sometimes the body tenses up, maybe a thought or an emotion. Other times there's a release. And we can just be with that as well. Just staying at ease. Allowing any holding on to dissolve, to soften. Noticing how that awakens the body. And just letting go any effort at all that you're making. Sitting for a few moments in the afterglow of the meditation. And then feeling yourself grounded, your contact with the ground. And feeling yourself in contact also with the other people, new and old, in the community, meditating together. energetically connected. Okay, good. So I suppose it's really strong times at the moment, isn't it? Really strong times, and I think sometimes we're blown around by things closing down, things opening up, opening up, things closed down. You know, we're constantly in that, and it's been a real. It's been very real in a way. And what I've loved is the way that people have lent into community during this time. Really, really appreciated that. How people have lent into into this Brixton Buddhist community, but Buddhist communities all over the country and the world have been reporting the same thing. And I'm sure all types of other communities as well. People are really seeing the benefit of that, leaning into it for support. So yeah, I just would encourage you as always to help us keep kind of growing, keeping able to create something vibrant between us, and that takes resources. So we ask for if you move to make a donation, £5 unwaged, £10 unwaged, but everything is on the basis of generosity. This whole Brixton community functions out of generosity. So if you wanted to set up a monthly donation, that would be amazing as well. A lot of people have done that. Really appreciate that. We're going to close the first half now, me and Cheryl here, and so all you need to do now is just click on the link to the discussion lounge that will be there in the chat box, and also once you've done that, you'll be welcomed in, and you'll still have a chance to get a cup of tea and have a toilet break before the discussion gets going. Yeah? And tonight the discussion could use as a platform, or just discussing situations in our lives where this type of teaching is going to be helpful, and what we often do in those situations, how we respond in those situations, and how this teaching might help us respond in more creative ways. So you could just start to explore some of that, you know, like in your own life. It's really useful thing to do, just to get together with other people, talk about it. So yeah, just click on the link, have a chance for tea, toilet break, and then you crack on with the second half. So lots of love from us here.